Let's get sweaty.
Hey guys, welcome to a Shenmue Dojo video. Today's video I will be looking at the character artwork that James and I revealed a few weeks ago, the unseen character renders and everything that were hidden in plain sight. And what I'm going to be doing is going through the article by Shenmusings. I've put the link in the YouTube description below so you can see that. And I'm going to go through each character, some of the design changes, and just some comments that Stu has made. As I say, the article's by Shenmusings, Miles Prowett on the forums and on the Discord, who's basically delved into each and every character and gone into them, gone, right, this is what's in the render document, this is how they ended up, and some fun and key facts about those characters as things have gone on and moved on as well. So I'm going to go through most of them. I will pick out a few that we'll have a little bit more detail about them, discuss them a little bit, and then we'll wrap up the video at the end. So first and foremost, as I say, everything is on shenmusings.com. The link is in the description below if you want to go and check this out. It's quite a sizable article, and likewise, Stu is like a plethora of encyclopedia around Shenmue characters, knowledge, and everything else. Check out his character database for Shenmue 2 and 3 if you haven't done so already, because that is insanely detailed around pretty much every character within the Shenmue series itself. So coming down, he gives a little bit of a summary here of essentially how things came about, and we've explained that in the podcast that we did fairly recently, so I'm not going to sit on that too much. He's noted that the character Mao is going to be a sort of a big talking point later on, connection to Ren. He's going to do a separate post to that. I am going to click on this just so you can see what is being talked about here. So this is the render of the character Mao that was new. We knew nothing about it, and it's rendered with Ren, and you can see her crying with sort of the Big Dipper coming out of her eyes. So it suggests she's going to have a major role, but we don't know quite yet. So that's the sort of general summary. We're going to dive into the table here, and we're going to work through all these characters in turn and then have a quick look at any sort of comparatives recently. So we'll start with Kame. Now, again, there's not really any changes here. She looks fairly similar to what she does in the final game. So just bring up the Shenmue wiki. When it kicks through, you can see pretty much nigh on identical. Now, she's the lady that you help out early on in the game itself. Coming down, this character who James and I obviously found within the art books itself. You can see here unused character we haven't seen quite yet, but he was, and we didn't think of this at the time, he was in the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter materials from Kenji Miyake's concept art, and he's known as Yu Fei. So again, he's not been used, but he has appeared in the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter materials, which is something that links those two together and suggests he was planned for something more, but I don't know. Yang Lang, obviously quite straightforward. He was a straight transition from the Dreamcast model there straight into Shenmue 3. Had a slightly different name there, but his character ID does actually match the Shenmue 3 files. Yumi Marino, again, slightly different model. She's not wearing glasses in the game. Character model matches that in the game itself. Shoko Usi, again, she's specifically sort of referred to as the Saturn model, sort of low polygon counts there, but her character ID matches that the final game. And if we have a quick look at her in the final game, you can see there's quite a distinct difference in the uniform that she's given there. The next one, this is quite an interesting one. So she's an unidentified character in Shenmue 1, referred to as Jean Brighton in these materials, and she only appears in the end, sort of near the end of the Dobuita departure cutscene. She's walking the dog. So I'm going to pop the image up so you can see that right here for everybody as well, because it's just one of the... Oh, you can't find it. Anyway, doesn't matter. You can just about see it there, but check it out on Stu's page if you haven't done so already. She's only in the final release of Shenmue 1, and she's the only character who doesn't have a passport profile or strategy guide profile. So this is the only source of her name, and Joe Kitchen obviously confirmed that her model name matches that of the final model within Shenmue 3. So that artwork there links very nicely to the model there. It's a shame the picture wouldn't load, but it is what it is. Asia Travel Lady, very similar to what was previously. This one here, Grandma Toshiisha, Switch translated the name, not using any Shenmue games so far. Mari, pretty much as she was. Kim Xian, again, pretty much a direct representation of the model in the final game. Now this one is interesting. This is a very interesting character. So the materials refer to him as Hugh Hao, who's not been used in any Shenmue game so far. Now Switch noted that this character name has actually been seen before, hidden in plain sight. So in the booklets of the Shenmue premiere, there is a map of Shuzu. And in that, you can see his house. So if I pop this up, and Switch has kindly translated this, the bottom of the image just here, there is his house. So it was clearly planned that he was going to appear in later installments. Whether that happens in a Shenmue 4, we don't know, but it could well be the case that it does. Moving down, Gawain, pretty similar to the final model. Fusaya Mishima, referred to as Reiko in these materials, so slightly different. Colour of the outfit differs from the final model, but those colours are seen in the Watch Shenmue demo, which is something I didn't know. So you can see the top and bottom comparisons that Stu's put together. The character ID matches the final ID in the final game. Coming into a Shenmue 2 character, again very similar here. Although it's very, in terms of being identical, the logo's been removed from the final apron for some reason, and she's working at stand the White Dynasty quarters. So then it looks like they've moved her on to then replace her with Azumi, who's obviously one of the hardest fights in Shenmue 2. Moving down, again, this character here, Akamichi Kunida, you have to excuse the pronunciation there. His model's largely identical to Shenmue 1. He's a Mad Angel that you punch in the face, basically, during the final battle. This one's one of the butchers in Shenmue 2, just simply referred to as a butcher there. This one here is a unused person. He's a Japanese businessman. It's implied in the file name that it was a Saturn one, or certainly a Saturn model that was never used. Yagamushi, again, this is a battle character for the 70-man battle in Shenmue 1. Character ID is exactly the same. Zigu Wei was known as the president of 5 Stars Corporation here in the materials, which is Yuanda Zoo's company. So perhaps he was going to have a bigger role. We just don't know. But the model is largely identical to the Shenmue 2 model, and he's the owner of Bloom Taylor, so he's obviously had a different role, and his character ID is slightly different. Liu, one of the children, pretty much identical. Naoki Shoji, design seems pretty much identical to the final model, although the name has changed ever so slightly. Zhang Hu, again, model looks very, very similar, but the character ID has changed between these papers and obviously the final version. Megumi, I mean, that is basically her final design, but as you can see here, she's got an alternative design which was unused. Zongquan looks pretty much as he was. Hideo Shigeya, or Shiga rather, one of the warehouse clerks, all pretty much as was. Zongshi wears a completely different outfit in Shenmue 2, and his character reference changed in Shenmue 2 in the final game as well. Haoring Jing, again, looks fairly similar, but again, he's the owner of electrical goods in the Lucky Charm Quarter, and his character ID has changed. This next one, who I'm not even going to pronounce his name, is known as Donio's subordinate. There is quite a significant character change there. It's much earlier design, and they made some changes to the final model, as you can see here. Switch has provided that image there. Zhu Zhuang, subordinate B, is pretty much as known in the final model. His character ID has changed, and I'm going to bring up his final model just so you can see a comparison. When it kicks through, you can just see him just there. So it's not overly different, but are some changes there as well. Maeda-san, again, looks pretty similar to the final model. This lady here, who's simply referred to as a woman who uses martial arts in these materials, she hasn't been used in any game so far. It's a special order character, seemingly referring to Yoshihiro Okabayashi, a member of Shenmue 2's planning team, also known to push for Azumi to be included in the game as well. So that's quite a cool little note there. I don't know if she'll appear or not. There was thought it could have been an early model Ways End, but I think it's probably a little bit too different. Then here you've got a model of someone called Boat People B. So whether that was Boat Person for the Chapter 2 bit or for Beverly Hills Wharf, I don't know. But the name suggests this was created during the Sega Saturn era and was essentially binned off as development moved on. Here you've got a number of children models sort of coming down with a few differences here. Lang Fang Ming here has obviously got a few little differences there, and some more of the children that were used and weren't used. You can sort of swing down those as you like. Next one, very different design here. So the slot house person who owns the slot house and runs the slot house, his model's changed quite a bit. You can see here that his model's been through quite a significant change in the face with the mustache and everything else. Moving down, Wang or his brother, depending on how you want to look at it. They have identical faces and heads, so I mean that's quite common in games. They do those sorts of things. But the outfit seen here is one that neither wears in the final model. However, it's suggested that this is modelled after one of the development team. Takashi Matsuda was the person they think this was created after, which is fantastic. Great little nod then, as we know we had the Yu Suzuki model in the Game Jam beta as well. Coming down, you've got another one, Yoshito Nishi. Again, looks like he's been modelled. In actual fact, he has been modelled off after somebody who worked on the Shenmue design of some of the models and etc. in the game as well. So that again sort of fits that theme. And you can see here there's a nice photo of the two of them together. So that's quite cool. Yiming Shi, again, not referred to by that name in the materials. Wise Man's Chemist. Clothing's different. Very different, in fact, but again, quite cool. Next one, character Nita, not been used. Ninglan Shi runs the vegetable stand in the stand quarter, very much identical. Fusaka Kondo, she is one of the Gossip Gaggle, and her model's pretty similar. Yang, again, very, very similar, although I think some of the design looks slightly different there. Then Aldia, obviously the Dreamcast model that you can see there, she obviously pulled over into Shenmue 3. Model name is Yu, which matches the character ID in the Shenmue 3 files. And then the last one we come down to is referred to as Yu or Yo in these materials. Has not been used in any Shenmue game so far. So we have also some art documents on the way as well, which we are going to be scanning in, and again doing lots of articles and posts and shows on those things as well, as we move things forward. I want to thank Stu for the article on the website. It is insanely detailed. I've had sort of a whistle-stop tour of all of those. Go and check that out, and dig into that lore and the comparisons between the documents we found and the final models, because there's some really interesting stuff in there, especially with the little boy whose house is actually in Shuzo, which we've seen and may well appear in Shenmue 4. So I'll leave things there. Like I say, quick whistle stop tour. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, YouTube, Twitter, and all the usual places. £2 a month, you can be a member and get all videos ahead of time. Nothing's locked behind the paywall, and anything that we make goes towards the running costs of the website for James and I. Thank you as always for dropping in on the dojo content, and I'll be back with a video in the not too distant future. But for now, guys, take care. Have a good one.